I'm your host, Felipe Rose, and welcome to the Disco Chronicles and Beyond. This podcast is about the disco era, the music, the culture, and the impact it's had on the world today, and why disco is still so hot. After successfully touring the world for over 4 decades as one of the original co-founders and members of the world-famous Village People, selling over 100 million records, this disco king truly knows a thing or two about the disco era. So sit back and relax and enjoy my conversation with my guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, to the Disco Chronicles and Beyond, Edwin Vazquez. We're going to try something different. We're going to step out of the disco lane because the show is now shifting into other styles of music. And Mr. Edwin Vazquez and I go back years, although I didn't know that until the pandemic. And then I remembered. So Edwin, welcome to the Disco Chronicles and Beyond. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on Disco Chronicles. And I love disco, actually.
Well, that's something that's interesting that
Yeah.
as musicians and singers, because I know you know what I do, but
Yeah.
your style is so completely different and fascinating at the same time that
Yeah.
I didn't even think, does he like disco? Does he know disco? Does he sing disco? Because
Yeah.
your style, you're actually like a real gypsy. You're a gypsy soul singer. And you're a songwriter, you're a composer, you're a guitarist, you're a vocal trumpeter.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
And a lot of, yeah, and so when people call you on your phone, you leave your message and then you say,
Hello, everybody.
it's like it's
Yeah.
like you're actually like you're
I'm
answering
surprised
the
I
phone,
even got that out
but
because I'm
it's
a little hoarse.
it sounds like you're actually on the you're rehearsing. And just like the way you do that, I do my traditional cipher war call.
Yeah, I love that.
It's very pitch high today.
Yeah, yeah, it's really
I'm
something. Yeah,
suffering from allergies right now, and I
yeah,
think
no, I'm a messed up. I'm kind of messed up myself, and it's been hard. I've been trying to recover for a while now since I got back from Rome. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah,
it's slowly getting
do tell us about that. That all of a sudden I look on social media and there's a picture of you in Rome.
yeah,
Like I want to go to Rome. I want to go to Italy this year,
yeah.
and then
Please
there
do.
you are. I'm like, how did I miss this? How did he just jump over there like that?
It
But
just yeah, it was beautiful, man. It was
you were
really
with the honey,
yes, yes.
and she's gorgeous. She's beautiful.
Yeah, I know, right? She's
See what happens when you wait and you take your time
yeah,
and you just don't jump into something, because we
thank
were
you, Felipe.
talking,
Yeah,
I think it was last winter or during the pandemic,
yeah,
and you were like, no, not right now, I'm just kind of waiting for that one person that's out there,
yeah.
and it happens. So
Yeah,
let's
you're a witness to that. That's what I believe. You have to really just know that it's not always a matter of searching; it's a matter of recognizing. When you
Yes.
when you're within it, just like music. When you write a song, you hear a certain melody. That's the melody you gotta jump on. A hook or whatever it is. It's
Right.
very spiritual to me. It's very spiritual. Everything is related. We've
Well,
had this conversation. Hey Felipe, should I do it this way? Turn the camera this way? Is this okay that I'm upward like
you're
this?
fine that way. I wish I could turn my camera the other way, but I didn't. Actually,
No,
it's
I think you have the ideal way. I think this is the ideal way, the way you have it. But just want to make sure.
well, you could turn it, see what happens. I mean,
No, sure, let me
Estella
know.
will connect.
Anyway, this
Oh,
is
that's
live
much
TV.
better. That's
Yeah, this
much
is live
better.
TV, and it's cool.
So, so where were you during? So, Estella's probably going to edit that part out. Estella, ladies and gentlemen, is my our associate producer.
Yeah,
So where were you during the disco era?
I was growing up, and I remember falling in love with Donna Summer.
Okay.
Remember MacArthur's Park?
Yes, but that song doesn't make any sense to me.
I know it's a strange song because
It's
it's
a
talking
very
about,
strange song, although it's a classic. It was
yeah,
actually a huge hit before she redid it.
yeah. Who did it before her, by the way?
I can't remember the group, but I mean, we can find it. We can find out
Yeah.
who it was. The fact is that you left the cake out in the rain. What does that mean?
Don't left the cake out in the rain. Yeah, it's an interesting. I
I
guess.
don't think that I can make it, 'cause it took so long to
To make
bake
it
it, and I'll never have that recipe again. I can't right now.
that's way up there. No, it's way up there. But I
Oh, I
think
can
what
hit
she's
that.
referring, I think what she's referring to is the fact that a cake is a celebration. It's sort of a festive thing like love, and got in this case she got all prepared, made the cake, and found love, you might say, and celebrating, and she was so excited about it. And then all of a sudden, she found that kick out in the rain. That's the
Well,
only thing I could come up
because the lyric actually says MacArthur Park is melting, and so okay,
with.
I guess
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and
yeah,
break
yeah,
down the lyrics. I mean, hearing a song is one thing, but lyrically
lyrically, yeah.
speaking, when you see the words as a singer, when we see the words, we can actually see what they're talking about rather than hearing it.
Yeah,
I have to look at a song written out first,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
lyrically, to understand,
It's true. It's
where it's
true. It
going.
takes that. It does take that, to
So I think it was
definitely.
Jimmy Webb was the writer
Oh,
that
okay.
wrote the song, but someone else sang it. But we'll find that, and I think we're gonna have to pop that in the show. So
Yeah,
tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
sure. Well, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been singing since I was a little kid. The first thing I did was dance. I was 5 years old at a party, I remember, and then my father would keep me dancing in the parks, out on the street. He would bring a little radio, and I was a natural entertainer because he would just tell me to stand on a picnic table, right? And I would dance, and people would come around, and I remember doing this stuff like this, and I remember I felt I was one of the first ones to do that Michael Jackson step, and I have a picture of it where you're putting the foot up, sort of like this, that thing like that.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a giant hole in his knees
Yeah,
on his jeans, but I love your style because you're very bohemian and you
thank
dress
you.
up, but then you always leave. There's a part of you that's got that sort of urban look,
Thank
ripped
you.
jean
You got a
look.
great style too. I was telling my girlfriend that I had met you. I don't know if you even remember. I had met you way back, and you were wearing white. This was way, way back. We met briefly, and I don't think I ever mentioned that to you. We met briefly. You had seen me it was a party. I remember you wearing white, and then we actually got to meet and everything. And it was brief, it was brief, and we got along really great. And then later on, years later, we connected again. I remember.
Okay.
So I think our musical connection was meant to be. That's what I truly believe.
Well, we keep threatening each other that we're going to collaborate, and it's coming. It's going to get
Yeah,
to
well,
that. I mean,
it'll be my
yeah,
privilege to do so, bro. But
yeah, yeah.
you're asking me about my inicios, like we say in Spanish, um, beginnings. Well, as far as what I do, I'm a singer songwriter, guitarist. I learned through my father, Roberto Vazquez, who was a bolero artist,
Yes.
with people like Marco Antonio.
Bolero in Spanish, for those that do not speak Spanish, it means it's a ballad singer.
Yeah, 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 bolero, and it's the Spanish standards of
Spanish standards,
time.
yes.
With two guitars, a vocalist, singing unusually high for a man in those days where you had the very macho thing. It was unusual, but yet it was beautiful, and it was 3-part harmony. And so I grew up around those rehearsals, and learning harmonies too. It became a part of me, which is why I ended up with the Paul Simon opportunity.
Yes, yes. Let's tell us about that.
Well, that was something that I remember. I sang at an engagement party. This is why I say opportunities can come from anywhere.
Yeah, and they do, my friend.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. This young lady approached me and said that she was working for Paul Simon. He's looking for a tenor. I went in. It was a Wednesday, and I was also in college, School of Visual Arts because I'm also an artist, as you know, a painter.
Yes, you are. Yeah, well, a very good painter. Right,
Thank you.
you draw very well,
Thank
really
you.
well.
I went in, and next thing you know, I'm auditioning for the part. I have met Briz, who was the bass. If you remember the album Graceland, the guy
Yes, yes.
in the middle of the stage, that's Briz. We became really good friends. Really great guy, beautiful soul. We lost him in the '90s, late '90s, unfortunately, but really beautiful person. And I auditioned, and there were a lot of great singers that came on board and tried to go for it, and they were incredible. But the thing about harmonies is to really pay attention to the balance between, and thus the word harmony, right?
Yeah.
To pay attention to the balance of harmonies, the dynamics, where you create a ringing sort of sound. And I knew that because I grew up around that, you know.
It's interesting that you say ring because when the group I was with, of course, Village People, when the five of us that sang chorus, apart from with the lead singer, and then that when you really think about it, I sang chorus for 40 years. I never had my own lead song like I now sing a lead
Yeah,
alone. But we would stand in a circle
yeah,
to sing harmonies.
yeah.
And so
Right.
that's where that okay, I get it now. I
It
never
was some vibration, right?
well,
You
that's true. The vibration and the voices all come and stay in the
together.
center, and we can hear it. Right.
Yeah, I like that shirt, by the way. You gotta let me borrow it sometime.
I threw out a little disco for you.
Like that shirt. No, it looks cool, man. I like it.
Thank you.
But yeah, the harmony thing was like that. I got the audition right away that night, and they told me to come next Wednesday, and I kept coming for a couple of months, recording with him. I had no idea I was on the album either. I found out through a friend, you know. I ended up, singing with Mark Anthony on the album.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Mark was on that project.
Yeah, he was. He was on the song that I was backing, doing vocals on.
But
It's
you're talking when Mark Anthony was before Mark Anthony.
Yeah, before he really blew up. I remember when I
So that's when
performed.
he had his long hair, right?
Yeah, I performed with him at the Armenian Hall, and I met him there. And he was actually very, very humble and very, very sweet, very kind person. And we spoke about jazz and all styles of music. Was backstage, and yeah, he's on that album singing "Satin Summer Nights," and he sang it beautifully. And I remember when I met him, he had just come from because that was another show he was doing from Madison Square Garden, and he was dizzy. I mean, literally dizzy from the experience.
Right, sure.
He was on stage with La India.
Oh, La India, of course. Oh my God, what a Jargonaut album that was.
Yeah,
that album that she released and he was on it, and that song that they both sing. Well, it was. I think you were playing it with your mother's birthday, the Queen, Vivil.
Oh, Vivir Mi Vida. Yeah, I was later on. The one you're talking about. Do you remember that song? I don't know, La India. You remember it? No.
Well, the thing is that it was interesting. His trajectory. He started freestyle, and then he went Latin.
That's right. Yeah.
And then he blew up. Right.
Mm-hmm,
Right.
mm-hmm.
Now, so let's jump back to disco. So have you used any disco music in your shows or any type of?
Can I show you one briefly, if you don't mind?
I would love for you. I was hoping that you would.
I'm hoarse.
I was hoping that you would grace us with something.
Yeah, but I'm terribly hoarse, so you gotta tell the audience, excuse me. But this is the song that's so beautiful, and it's disco, but I kind of turned it into a ballad.
You can take your time.
You mind if it's a very short little
part? No, we do not mind.
A real short part. I turned it into a ballad.
Okay.
I'm more of a balladeer, kind of a gypsy soul singer. So I figured go like this. Right? Young man.
Ah.
There's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, cause you're in a new town. There's no need to unhappy. Oh, young man, there's a place you can go. I said, young man. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So
Thank you. That
you,
made me laugh.
no, I'm joking around, obviously.
No. I actually went to see a
Check
friend.
this out with a Latin rhythm to it. Young man, there's a place you can go.
I said, young man.
Baby, and I'm sure you will find
Many ways to have a good time.
it's fun to stay at the
YMCA. It's fun to stay at.
YMCA. Everything for your thing to enjoy. Anyway, I'm the voice. But,
I know. I'm like, it's interesting. Thank you for that. I'm honored. And I went to see 2 months ago. My friend Jimmy James came to New York to perform. I think you might know who he is, Jimmy James. And in his show, he speaks about during the pandemic how he didn't know what to do, and so he decided to start doing his living room performances like you did. You were doing art during the day, and in the evenings you would do your concerts. And then so I was like crazy just sending out care packages. And I think I sent you a care package with food.
yeah, no,
And then I sent him so that's on the screen in the picture on the stage of the cookies. I sent his mother, and then he walks and sits down and he starts to sing a ballad version of YMCA. And I
he did it too.
I heard, and I was sitting in the audience. I was like, "Wow!" I mean, I'd seen someone do that many years ago. How singers will take a song like that, which is disco, and completely flip it inside out.
Yeah, we should do that sometime. Like we'll
So
start.
thank you. So thank you again. The thing is that with me, I mean, I had a show last week in Brooklyn at the
That's
Brooklyn
yeah.
Bowl.
I wasn't well, but yeah.
And I went on at 1:45 in the morning.
Oh my God.
So I was in real good voice because
Yeah.
the later the greater. The later in the evening, the better I sing.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I mean, don't you think that you sing better during the day than at night during the day?
Well, I think what happens is if you're singing, for me, the more I sing, the warmer I get.
Right.
It's the other way around. Like some people get burnt out in 3 or 4 songs, but the more I sing, because I've been singing since I'm a kid, since I'm 5 years of age, the more the relationship, the vocal cord relationship, does its job.
Yeah, it does. It does. So now, so here we have you like, okay, you're collaborating and because you're playing in some very really nice places around New York City. I have to commend you on that you are playing in some really interesting places, and I want to definitely have all that information up so that our listeners and also viewers, because people will watch the show on Spotify .com, and they'll see the show with the two of us speaking. But then on Anchor FM, it's only an audio show, an audio portion of it. So you're here. You are you're working with Mark Anthony and like so many people, like Tito Puente Jr., who I actually know. I collaborated with his father at the Red Parrot in New York.
Remember, I performed there many times with freestyle. In fact, freestyle, because I did freestyle as well. I was signed with Cutting Records. You know that, right?
It's interesting speaking to you now that I'm realizing that just because I sang disco and I looked at it, for me, it was a job. That was where I would go to work. When I wasn't on stage, I was listening to jazz and singing, even some country songs and blues and hip hop and freestyle. So my taste is eclectic. But then when I would pack up to go to work, it was disco music.
Yeah, that's the way it is. This is a job we do too. We have to be chameleon in a certain way. We have to be able to merge and try different things. but it's fun. It's colorful and it's fun. You know,
It
it's a
is, and
different.
it's also it's always good to just mix things around, which is why
Yeah,
now I'm going to be working with a Darnell White, and he's a musical director, and I'll be leaving the track arena of singing live to tracks to more of live instrumentation.
that's great, man.
And
That's
of course, I do have plans that you will be dropping in on that show
fun. I'd love to do it. You know, I'd love to do
because
that.
no, we will collaborate. Because I think that the interesting thing was that I think that when everything went into lockdown,
Yeah,
and suddenly everyone was at home, then I started discovering people that I remember I met them, or that I knew them, but then I knew them, and then like yourself, suddenly you became a constant through the lockdown. There you were during the day doing your art classes,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
then in the evening doing your shows.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And then by doing that, you grew in popularity. You developed quite the following.
Yeah, it was very significant, you know, and you know very well that my intention was just to go there and sort of provide some comfort and healing for people. It wasn't even about that, you know. It just happened that way, right?
It fell into it, and now I was also sharing your show
Yeah,
live to other people, and they were climbing on, and then suddenly you had like an audience every night.
yeah.
And I actually remember that right before you would start in the evenings, you would wait for that 7 o'clock hour, and
Oh yeah,
you would step outside of your place to
yeah.
hear everyone in the city banging pots and
Right,
pans,
right, yeah,
celebrating life, that
yeah,
they were okay, and that was also in gratitude to all of the first responders.
yeah, the
So
essential workers.
so I would get the alert, oh, he's live, and I would go to see you,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you would open the door, and you would listen, but because you were in the back of the building,
yeah, I was in the back.
you
Yeah,
couldn't see them, but we could hear them with
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then, and then one night you went out there, you didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I didn't hear nothing. Yeah, it's true.
You looked around, you said, well, I think maybe everyone's out. They just stopped. They just stopped.
Yeah,
And then an hour or two later, you would begin your shows.
yeah, 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 yeah,
But in your show that you performed, you did all types of music. You not only
yeah,
you did a couple of disco songs that
yeah,
you transformed like this in a bolero style,
yeah.
and your style was very eclectic during your living room sessions.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was I called it the plus E heal in sessions at 111 every day when it came to the drawing and all that. And then later on I started doing little live performances. I remember I'd get dressed up and treat it like, because I wanted people to feel that they were going out because everyone was locked inside. So I figured, let me bring something that would make them feel like they went out somewhere and just experienced a show. I put on the lights and everything.
You did, and you always got dressed up and got all
Yeah.
sexy as you are, and then so you had a huge female audience, and I'm there as an artist, and I'm also there like, yeah, I'm crushing on him too, girls. Because when they would write, oh, I love you so much. I would write, me too.
No, but
Listen,
it was
listen,
really
if you
cool.
can't tell your boys how fine they are, then that ain't good. Ain't nothing happening.
No, no. Look, I remember what was very beautiful too is you really reached out a lot, man. And people really, they really resonated to you because they saw that you. First of all, you're obviously well known all over the world, and here you are.
Thank you.
You thought that was a time, especially where we needed to reach out from our hearts and realize our our equality, our similarity, our to each other, humbly
Mhm.
reach out. And that's what you did. I'll never forget that. You reached out and you even spoke to people online when they were commenting. And I would say, hey, we have over here Felipe Rose, from the village people. And then you sent actually you sent two deliveries. I don't know if you remember that. You
Well, the
sent,
thing was that you weren't working and you weren't also going out to shop or eat or anything.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then I remember hearing you telling us that you were going to, go and put your mask on and go and see your mother, who
yeah,
you couldn't see. And I remember that you said, "No, this is the day. Tomorrow, I'm gonna go see the Queen, and I'm
yeah.
gonna go shop. I'm gonna go shop for her." So that was like sort of like a new experience for you to leave your house, which I
Yes.
think it was a few months after we went into lockdown that you hadn't seen her.
It was for Mother's Day.
It was for Mother's Day.
Remember
That's
that?
what.
Because she was up. She was. I had David come down. I brought food, and my brother David. I brought my guitar. I brought my tripod. And what I did was I had released the song that she wrote on iTunes as a surprise to her for Mother's Day. So
What?
I went over there. I walked over there, bought her food. I called David. David came down, and I gave him the food to bring upstairs. And I
That's
told,
your brother, right?
yeah, David, yeah, and I
Yes.
and I told him to tell Mom to look out the window so I could surprise her. So I had the tripod up. I had put Facebook on so everyone could experience this moment. And then I sang Madre Querida to her from downstairs. She was on the second floor. And I remember I had the mask on and I put the camera behind me and I sang, Madre Querida, to her, a song that she wrote. And
Dearest mother, yeah.
I wanted to make it a memorable moment for her, for everyone, and significant, a significant moment in that time, that history there, as in regards to what I want to provide as an artist to everyone, as a human being, applying the human being to the artist.
Yes.
The field is so important, very, very important. So I wanted to just celebrate that and also, I guess, create something that people might remember in the future in regards to honor, in regards to what music means to me, what my mother means to me, and just
No, I caught the video afterwards, but as I kept watching it, I kept seeing people scrolling,
yeah,
sending love and messages and what have you. And I'm glad that we're actually talking about this. While I know that the show is about Disco Chronicles in season 1 and season 2, many of my guests, we broke it down, disco, where you were when it came out, the clubs they went to, what we wore, what we drank, and all that. And then in the middle of season 2, sort of we kind of broke it down of where it went, what happened to it, and where is it now. And then so now going into season 3, that's why we changed the name to the Disco Chronicles and Beyond, because once that period of the understanding of that genre, of that style of music, what happened to it, where it went, then people started talking about other songs, other types of styles of music. And I said, well, it's not the Disco Chronicles anymore. Let me just call it And Beyond. And so by having it that way, I can now invite other artists like yourself that, yes, do know disco. Yes, they've sung disco, like you sang YMCA. And also I had Tony Orlando on a few weeks back.
Yeah, I
And
love Tony Orlando, by the way.
he and I are
Well, I
old
get me
friends.
to meet him someday. I would love to meet him because I really love his work. I remember when I was younger, tie yellow ribbon around the little tree.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And so the interesting thing is that out of all of that period of what we're talking about, when you went and did the video with your mother outside during the lockdown, this show was born from that era. I was trying to pull together a podcast show. Someone pitched to me, and I said, no, I don't like that title. I don't like that title. And then I spoke with my associate producer and comadre, Estella.
Yeah.
She was also a fan really early on when
Yeah.
you started doing
Oh,
your living room concerts. Oh yeah, Stella was on it.
yeah, I'm flattered. Stella, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she said she didn't mind looking at you either. So I love how red you get. You're so modest, my God. You're so modest. You're like you don't take those too well, right? You need to. You're a beautiful person. You're a beautiful man, inside and out. And so the thing is that when I mentioned to her that I said I want to call the show something else because and she said, yeah, I agree with you. I said, what if I call it the Disco Chronicles and Beyond? She immediately thought, what a great idea, because we can have other people that weren't necessarily living and doing the disco thing, but dance to disco, love disco. So that this show was born from that period.
Yeah, if I may say something about disco, in regards to its history and what I know of it too, let's face it, the reality is disco, first of all, came with a great impact, and made a big impact into the whole industry because, as a musician, I could see its connection to other music. I mean, other music, how other music is
Other
connected.
styles, R&B,
Other
R&B
styles,
music, yeah.
R&B, freestyle. Freestyle is
Freestyle came from that.
yeah, dance music, and you know what? The dance format, that this goes like this, and you looked at salsa.
That's couple
Yeah,
dancing.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's the hustle. What you just
yeah,
did.
yeah, right. So when you look back at the old salsa days, it wasn't exactly like that. Disco influence salsa, where you see all that, and you think about it in the 70s when salsa came out, what were they wearing? They were wearing like space outfits, right? That so
No, I don't know. I don't
yeah. You
remember.
look at Gran Combo and a lot of these bands, they were
Oh, okay,
flashy, very
okay.
flashy, and the things over here. It wasn't a traditional suit. Now, when we're looking back
A
at Mambo,
polyester suit with the wide shirt
it was
lapels.
actually like costumes. If you
The
look
shirts
back,
with the wide lapels. Yeah, I
yeah,
forget what those shirts
and
were
they have
called.
the costumes like gold and all that. A lot of them look literally like the space outfits, because what happened was, you're looking back at Mambo music. Yeah, it was more dressed up with ties and all that. Even Tito Puente
Well,
Jr.
from Mambo music, salsa was born.
Yes,
And
yes.
then you had the progression from salsa to Afro-Cuban and eventually into disco.
Right. That's what Tito Puente, my father told me when he heard of salsa, he's like, "Salsa que eso?" Yeah, because it was basically with the Fania, that got together. Willie
The
Colon,
Fania All-Stars.
the greats of salsa. When you think about it, Willie Colon, who I got to meet,
Celia Cruz.
yeah, Celia Cruz, who that night, in fact, I met Mark Anthony. He part of the reason he was dizzy and thrown back and in amazement was because of the fact that he had gotten off stage and performed where she was on the very same stage. Yeah. So it was that era, man, where a lot of amazing stuff was going on, and it was those transitions into disco, into freestyle, and we have to remember everything's really connected and related. That's why
It
you
all
also
is. Absolutely.
look
It all.
what you're doing now. You're bringing in the native, sort of the indigenous part of you, and because you were the Indian and the village people, but that's really the core of who you are also as an artist. So you bring that urban and that native into the music, which is a wonderful thing because it's very representative of us as also Latinos, as Puerto
Well,
Rico.
it's Latino. Also, we have the indigenous Taino race
Yeah, the Taino
from
race.
Puerto Rico, Taino Indian. So having that, my mother was from Puerto Rico with an Italian father and a Puerto Rican mother. She has the Taino roots. And then with my father, so I have the best of both worlds, and I love it that I can actually think into worlds.
Yeah,
And that's being a shadow walker, that you
yeah,
think and you live in if you have a dual heritage or
right.
biracial, I think in two worlds like that, and can
Yeah,
easily separate it. Say we were to go out, if we were to go out to an evening where I'm gonna get all dressed up with the fedora and the suit, and you take me to a big salsa or Latin event, I'm immediately right there. I go right into the.
yeah. I know.
I fall right in. I fall right into step. I fall right into step. So let's
Yeah.
talk about these projects that you're working on. You're working on some very interesting projects. You will now have, is it a quartet that you have, or
No, that my
the
thing on
musicians?
stage.
Are you jumping around doing different
Yeah, it's
formats?
always like that, Felipe. I'm always like the thing is, I hire people, and to maybe to everyone's surprise, might come to everyone's surprise that I'm often improvising on stage. It's nothing is really rehearsed. It's people randomly being hired, and some of these people play with me a lot, which is why they often can learn some of the arrangements and get creative. But it's really an on the spot situation. Uh, due to the work, due to the being, working and everyone being busy and getting show after show sometimes,
Yeah.
at the time, things, we step back a little this time because there's also other reasons, personal reasons in my life, good ones. And then that I'm still performing, but I'm just working randomly on other projects because I'm also
Right.
acting now. I don't know if you know that.
No, I know. Let's hold on to that thought because we're going to
Yeah.
take our first break right now.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with Edwin Vazquez.
All right.
And we're back with our guest today, Edwin Vazquez. So let's talk about that acting because I'm in that, getting ready to open that door. I've dabbled in it for years, doing lots of television and sitcoms and whatever, but now that door is I'm getting ready to open it
Sure.
with a TV agent and etc. Which again, it's just putting the time into it. So you're now going into movies and films.
Yeah, I mean, it started a while back where I started doing some projects for some films, like where I played on set or whatever. But um, one of the most recent projects was with Elaine Del Valle. She's a Puerto Rican Latin Award-winning director, producer, and an actress as well. And I met her through none other than Theo Louis, who's a wonderful human being. He really is great. We were both interviewed on the same show, and then I gave her my music, and her and her husband fell in love with the CD, the Faith CD, which is
Semilla.
up here. Oh no, this is the old CD called Faith. From
Oh,
way back.
no, okay. I was listening
Yeah,
to. I was listening to a few things on your website last night.
yeah. Semilla's
You have
more
a lot of
recent.
videos, which is tremendous. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, those are like live videos often, and it's not really. It's more like that people capture, and I just share them. But yeah, it's just my way of reaching out and getting people to hear some of the music.
Semilla is your last song you put out.
No, I actually, after that, I did Puerto Rico Estamos Contigo. I believe it was Puerto Rico Estamos Contigo, if I'm correct. And Madre Querida, if I'm correct. I lose the.
How old is Semilla then? Semilla means seeds, ladies and gentlemen. It's seed, the seed.
Yes, Semilla de Fe, Seed of Faith. Is the song, and I wrote it in. Again, we were locked in here, and locked in our homes, and the Ana Pereira from En Directo TV, el canal Quisqueya, reached out to me because he had interviewed me in the past. So she said, Edwin, I would like to have you on the show. We'll find a way. We'll do an interview sort of thing, or maybe you can just do a song because she had already interviewed me. I said, I'd love to. So she spoke to me. I literally wrote the song in 10 minutes, really. And I sent it to her, and she fell in love with it. And we decided to bring it out, and I shared it, and then people were liking it. It was really a video, by the way. It wasn't a recording because
I see.
go
Okay.
to a studio.
Yeah.
But
Well, the
people
cover is
enjoyed it.
beautiful. The cover is beautiful.
Thank you. They enjoyed it. So I said, let me put it out there. But I'm going to do it again officially, with a proper arrangement.
Sure.
A partner.
That's an interesting thing that a lot of music, great music, was born out of the pandemic.
Yeah,
Out of the lockdown, there were
yeah.
so many people that then suddenly began putting, they had their A game, but they decided, no, we need a B and a C game, and a lot
Yeah.
of great music. And so it's not strange for me to hear when someone says, oh yeah, and we wrote the song in 10 minutes. Like with Dance Again, the song I put out 2 years ago about the lockdown.
Mm.
I wrote that with my producer within the hour, and then within 5 hours, we had a full song, fully produced
Yeah,
with background vocals and what have you. Although they were just scratch vocals, just to know where the placement was
yeah,
of the lyrics and the verses and chorus. But
right,
it's not strange for you to say, "Oh, we wrote it in 10 minutes or in an hour,"
yeah,
because that's what we do as artists. We can literally
right,
get together without even a rehearsal, or if we're just going to know we're going to go on stage in an hour, this is the song I'm going to do, we'll literally break it down, go over it a couple of times, and then as artists we run out and we just, you know what that is, that we throw ourselves off the cliff
yeah, yeah,
because it's scary.
yeah, yeah.
You find that you find you
It,
just
it is, and I
in
guess like,
constant flight, you're in.
yeah, no, it's like when I wrote that song. What the reason I emphasize the 10 minutes is because I can be sometimes my worst enemy in a way, because I tend to dissect what I'm doing, even in life, and then I'll really. But I was so pleased with what was coming from it that it almost imposed on me, where nope, don't touch that, you know. And I just had to keep writing it, and I couldn't. Usually, the critic inside of me gets in the way, and I can take. I could write a song in an hour, and I've done it many times because the more writing you do, the faster it comes, right?
Well,
Because
practice makes perfect. Yeah,
yeah, you recognize what to
you
do.
get better at it, right?
Yeah, verse, chorus, dynamic wise, what you want to do, what you want to create, and you learn that an ending is what you choose to be an ending, because really, what is an ending of a song in the beginning? And that's that whole formula, which is more like a conversation, like we're having right now,
Sure.
conversive uh, experience, but in melody, expressing the heart, the soul, and telling a story. Sometimes, in some accounts, true, sometimes not, but sort of just communicating our human experience, our connection to each other, our commonality,
Right.
and
And
that's
that's
it.
the thing about, and that really the truth is that as I was creating this podcast, what ended up happening was, prior to that, we were, of course, music exploded over the internet because everyone was locked down. There was nowhere to go. And so disco made a huge comeback
Yeah,
during 2020. And
yeah. And this will always be.
suddenly it was everywhere.
I think music like that never really dies. In my opinion, we have this thing we call trend, right? But if we were to define trend, what is trend lasts for so long, right? That's why it's a trend.
But
Usually
disco's on a trend right now.
no, but I mean, it's always. My point is that when you got something that becomes, it's become a part of everyone's soul, even youngsters hear it,
Well,
and
what do you think I did last Friday at the Brooklyn Bowl? I performed for like 800. It was sold out at Gimme Gimme Disco for ages 21 to 34.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay? That's it. They loved their disco, but they had never seen a disco artist. So
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
the minute I hit the stage, they were like, they lost their minds.
It's
Um,
great music, man. I still look. The good thing is a lot of it also done. They had the beat, that sort of MIDI beat or whatever that came later. But a lot of disco was live, and
Well, yeah, we had a live band when we
yeah,
went out as an act, and
yeah.
we would set up
Well,
monitors
it never fades.
on the
It never,
dance floor in a club. Something you brought up earlier that now I'm realizing that I do a lot is, after a performance like last week, I find myself asking myself, like with the guy that drove me and was my security, how was I? How did I sound? Was I okay? And I find myself sort of questioning that process. And I think that it's just because we're so uh, critical of ourselves.
yeah. Well, we're looking also, and I think it's good, but I think the only time it can be unhealthy is when you're not seeing the growth and you're not taking the good that you did in regards to your work. It's important to have that balance, because you do want to be critical somewhat so you can get better and better. That's what just life is about in general,
Of
right?
course, yes.
That's what That's what it's all about, you know, in every sense of the word, you know, to keep anything going, a job, a relationship, you always have to be exploring it and say, okay, what can I do better today? How can I be a better boyfriend, better musician, a better worker, a better person, right? So I think it's important, but you know, but managing the balance is important too. That's where compassion lies, spiritually speaking, you know, where we can say, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm working on it slowly, you know, but it's part of the process. And I think it's important.
With
There's
that
always,
compassion, though, I always use that special dose of empathy
yeah,
and
yeah,
kindness. So I like to mix that up, all of those together, so
yeah,
that I hope that tomorrow morning I'm better than I was yesterday. And that leads me to the E sessions that
oh,
you do. Please
yeah,
tell our listeners about that, because you do that through music.
yeah. Well, the plus E sessions are, you know, part of my faith, you know, like, you know, the plus and the E.
Right?
And that has to do with, you know, my faith, the cross, you know, that we all, you know, look, I'm not,
Everyone has a cross to bear.
yeah, everyone does, and we don't have to treat it a religious way. It's just part of
No,
life.
no, not at all.
You know, it's part of life. We all, and it's okay because it's part of our responsibility as human beings to go forward and say, hey, look, if I want to become a better at this, or better at that, a better human being, whatever it may say, you have to understand at some point you got to carry the responsibility of what that means in whatever shape or form. It's part of life. So the Plus E sessions were about just trying to communicate myself as an artist, my expression, my philosophy, my perspective, my outlooks in life. But you know, also not trying to impose them on anyone, just being an expressive artist, you know, where like we both do. We put our
Well,
music
there's a
out.
spiritual aspect to music in general,
Yeah,
and whether it's soul music or hip hop music or country
yeah,
music or disco. What
yeah,
is the one thing that you do with your musicians and your backup singers backstage? You all take a moment and you hold hands.
yeah, yeah.
Bring that energy to bring that energy together as one. And
Yeah,
so we do that and we come together because musicians and artists, we are on that higher level of using our art form, and it becomes spiritual to us and then becomes our religion.
yeah, and it becomes your driving force because I remember we were talking about the acting thing. When I went to, you know, I was selected by Elaine to be the musical director of this movie. I had never done anything like that. I have no experience whatsoever, but I know based on, you know, just my prior experiences in the business that you have to go in there, just do it. You have to believe. And I met Javier Munoz from Hamilton, you know,
Oh wow. Yes, I know who he is.
very nice person.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember he was supposed to be playing guitar. And of course, he didn't know how to play guitar. So my job was to make it look convincing and to teach him the chords and to move with him. You know, he's playing the guitar, it's me playing it. So to create, put something together that's believable, visually believable. So that was a challenge in itself, but it was fun, you know, and you had to jump into it. You have to own it, and you have to know somewhere inside of you that it's bigger than what the whole scheme of things when it comes to just success. It's a matter of expressing something. And the same with after that, I received another opportunity with Mauricio Zapata, who invited me to be part lead in a movie, and I was like, me be a lead? Oh God, called Just Love Me, and that's another project that I'm working on. You know, he wants to use my song 7 Minutes or Blues and Jazz, one of the two or two. I don't know how, but he's in love with these two songs and he wants to use them in the movie.
Well,
So
that's great. That's terrific.
yeah, and then you know, from there to this incredible experience with Flat Iron Room, you know, which
That's a beautiful room to
that was a
play.
surprise to me, Felipe. I really, you know,
That's on my dream board.
yeah,
That and below 54.
yeah,
So I mean, I have my list of places where
yeah.
I
I
want
think
to
I love you
perform.
there.
And the Flatiron is one beautiful
Yeah,
room.
it's a beautiful space, you know, and right now I'm in the process of that was my fourth contract. It's going to be my fifth, but it's going to be a much busier situation. I'm going to be working more days, both at Fine and Rare and Flatiron. So it's going to be kind of stuff and just overwhelming somewhat, I guess, when I think about it. But it's hard because it imposes a little on your personal life. But there's no
Right, right.
nights, but that's part of what we
Well,
do.
I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to start to embark on this new experience with my musical director, and that's live piano. Not that I don't
That's
sing
great,
to,
man.
that's how we write in the studio, either to piano or guitar.
Yeah,
But it's to break down my show that I have that's all tracked
yeah,
to music and to break it down. So
yeah.
I will be putting a live show together, and I will be inviting you, and you will be going up on stage with me as my guest, as a guest here in the house, and you may do a disco song with me.
I would love to, man. I think it would be a dream to sing with Felipe Rose, man. You kidding me? Get on
Listen,
stage.
no,
It would
I
be a
will be
dream come
honored to
true for
have
me.
you on stage with the Senor Edwin Vasquez.
Thank you, thank you. No, man. But
So
the other thing is this Thursday I'm doing something really. It's at Lehman College. I just want to
that's
announce that.
coming up. I think that's tomorrow.
Yeah,
But,
tomorrow. Oh,
but this show airs next Wednesday.
yeah. Oh, that's okay. Well, those
No,
who.
so what I will do is that I will get the list to add to that
Yeah,
when we do the editing, so that when it airs next Wednesday, I'll have a special announcement. Edwin Vasquez can be at, and you give me the future
yeah, yeah.
dates coming up.
Yeah, I'm doing something also on the. Was it? I think it's. I have several dates. Something called Quinceañera. It's at a gala event, and I'm doing
That's a
another.
Sweet 16 party.
Yeah, I know. They're doing this modeling thing.
Oh, listen, they blow up money. They throw money at those things. Like,
Yeah, they're doing this modeling sort of thing, that and then this other show, it's empowerment of women.
okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
and yeah, I didn't gather my dates unfortunately, but
Listen, let me tell you something, and I know you'll believe it when I say it, but do you know how many bar mitzvahs I've done with village people?
really,
Like literally, what's the ship there on the Hudson? The battleship? Uh,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
the Iwo Jima? Is that the Iwo Jima?
Uh, God, thank you.
It's got all the planes on it and all
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. And I know which one. I performed on there too. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
we literally did
The
like
Intrepid. The
four.
Intrepid.
The Intrepid. We did
Yeah,
like throughout the year, we did like four huge concerts
yeah,
inside for
yeah,
a bar mitzvah.
yeah, yeah,
So these 15-year-olds would just come on stage, and they would introduce the village people. And like,
yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah.
like going, but the amount of money that the parents would spend on things like that.
No, I'm thinking of
But but the wonderful thing about music, but the wonderful thing about music in general is that it takes us to all kinds of places,
yeah,
and
yeah.
literally
No, intensely.
the journey's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I have an appreciation actually for such events. I remember the song Shalom Kaverim, right?
no, no.
Shalom Kaverim, Shalom Kaverim, Shalom, Lehitrahu, Shalom, Shalom.
But no, I don't know that. What is
Yeah,
that?
that's Jewish one. Then the other one is
Oh, okay, right. Because Happy Passover, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah. Then the other one is
Havanagita, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
I
So
did that at a
listen,
party last year.
so Edwin, I want to thank you
Yeah.
for being on the Disco Chronicles and Beyond. Please tell everyone where they can reach you.
Yeah, please reach out to me while I'm on Instagram, and I have my website that I need to really work on. So forgive me for that.
Well, who doesn't? Okay, so we're mostly always on social media, but the website's parked. I'm gonna now
Yeah,
activate it and get it back out. Your website is
Edwin Vasquez, what you got? VAZ, not VAS.
VAZQUEZ.
EdwinVasquez.com, and obviously, and The other, go to Instagram. You can always find me, Edwin Vazquez Musica. You'll find me.
Música, right?
Go to iTunes to buy my music, please. Check out my YouTube videos as well. Share them. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and reach out. And I also love doing parties and performing.
Yeah, and you have to do me one giant favor. I know I have to get out to Brooklyn, and now with the spring, I know that I'll be able to do that and meet the Queen.
Yeah, well, my family's dying to meet you too.
Well, I just saw your mother, God bless her, last Saturday on video today,
Yeah.
dancing with you for her 80 what?
She's 84 now.
84, and she was dancing with you.
Yeah,
Like, excuse me, like,
yeah, I know.
and you were just like, you were like in your moment there. She got up from the chair and she had to throw it down with you.
Yeah, no, she's amazing, really.
Yeah, I definitely have to meet her.
It's no secret, that how much I love my mother. It's she's a part of my soul.
Right. And so the other lady in your life, I hope that I get to meet her if she's not sitting behind that camera.
And where's she at? She's somewhere about here. Say hello real quick. Come on.
I knew she was there.
Yeah, she's here. Say hello. Hello. Say hello.
Hello, I will meet you soon.
Hey, we got to congratulate her. She just became captain. She's a pilot.
She's a pilot, so now she's captain. Wow, that's amazing.
Captain, she's training.
Well, it was nice that you both went to Italy and she wasn't flying the plane. Otherwise, you would have been sitting alone.
Yeah, I know. And we got first class.
I saw that too.
Yeah, all right.
No, you travel. You were traveling in good style. You were like kicking it back. You were you were being very organic about the whole.
Yeah, I'm always gonna be that
way. And you deserve that, my friend.
Thank you, Felipe.
You deserve that someone now takes you to places because you've been giving and giving for so many years. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for our friendship, our brotherhood, for the love of music, for the love of disco, the roots of our people's music, Puerto Ricans in general, Latinos, So I want to thank you for being on the Disco Chronicles. And God bless, and I will catch you really soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you, Stella, as well. Stella. And it's a pleasure to be here. You're an icon. You know that. You know how I feel about you. And most importantly, aside from everything you've done, it's who you are as a human being that I.
Well, that to me is more important and more. I wear that as a badge of honor. I really do. So thank you for that. All right, you take care of yourself. And everyone, thank you for listening and for watching us on Spotify.com and on Anchor FM. Edwin Vazquez was our guest today. You can find him on EdwardVazquezMusic.com. And we will see you next week. Thank you. Happy Easter. Happy Passover and all that good stuff. Bye, Edwin. Thank you.
Bye, Mano.